guys, welcome to the People in Progress podcast. I cannot believe I'm saying that. I'm so excited to be starting this. This is our first introductory episode, so I'm going to tell you all about who I am, all about what the People in Progress podcast is all about, some topics we're going to be covering, all the exciting things coming where you guys can listen to this podcast. Obviously, if you're listening now, you must at least know one place to listen. And yeah, what value you guys can gain from listening to this podcast. Now, I will give a preface because I can see a cat walking in here right now. If you can hear anything or if you're watching on video and you see any cats, hear any cats, I have 2 cats, and as soon as you start doing something, of course they want to interrupt. And we've got Ren down here today as our first guest on the podcast, so we'll see if she makes an appearance in the video. So this is my first time recording a podcast, so let's just get right into it. I'm a little bit nervous, but let's get right into the segments. So at the beginning of every episode, I'm going to have a couple segments, and those are what is progressing my life. And this is because obviously this is the People in Progress podcast, and we'll get into what that means and again what this is about later. But every episode I want to talk about what's progressing in my life. So things that are really helping me with my goals, things that are pushing me forward, just things that are working for me. And if you watch my monthly resets on YouTube, I do this sort of what's working, what's not working thing. And this is kind of similar to that. And then so the opposite of that, I have the what's holding me back segment. So we're just going to talk about things I need to work on pretty much, because this self-improvement thing is a journey and there are always going to be things we need to work on or things that might just be holding us back from our goals a little bit. Then we're also going to talk about my life update for each week, just tell you guys what's going on, just talk to you guys, chat about what's going on. And then I also want to tell you guys about my current read, because I'm really into reading, and I will get into this in future episodes, but reading is such a good hobby for self-improvement, so I thought it'd be great to talk about it every week on the podcast, because I mean I read so many books, I need to talk to someone about them. So let's actually do the segments. What is progressing my life this week? So I have really been working on going to sleep earlier. I've been trying to wake up around between 8 and 9 a.m. and I would say I go to sleep at some point this year, it was like 3 a.m. every night, but I would say I've been going to sleep around probably 2 a.m. recently. I probably hop into bed at around 12:30, but then like I read for a couple hours. The other day I went to the lake and I was so exhausted. When I got back, I hopped into bed around 11:30, which is a much better time to hop into bed. I woke up feeling so energized. So I've been really working on trying to get to sleep earlier, and that morning when I was waking up feeling really energized, I made sure to journal about it, so I remember that feeling as motivation to actually go to sleep earlier. And now what's holding me back? I have to say scrolling and TikTok in general. I love TikTok. I love posting on TikTok. You guys should follow me if you don't already. It's just Elsa Moira on TikTok. Just doom scrolling and endless scrolling and sort of looking at content that doesn't inspire me and maybe holds me back a little bit. I really need to work on that. Okay, for a life update, what's been going on in my life? I had an experience with my first haircut in Ottawa the other day, and how do I even say this? Like, it was really bad. The haircut, if you're watching video, I don't think my hair looks too bad. I've just blown it out, so it's all right. But I went to this hairdresser. The hairdresser literally did not talk to me. The haircut took about 2 hours, which might be the longest haircut I've ever had. And I was like quite like visibly upset because I just booked like a cut and dry. But I have naturally curly hair and I walked in with my natural hair. So not that she asked me about my natural hair type, but she knew I had curly hair, hopefully from the way I walked in. And she was just blow drying my hair from like the side and upwards. And if you have honestly anything but dead straight hair, you have to know that just makes your hair like so frizzy. And I asked her if she was going to blow dry it, at least like with not even like a round brush, not need to blow it out or anything, but just like maybe brush through it and do that. And she was like, no, you have to pay $30 extra to get it styled, which apparently was the only way to get my hair dried properly. And so I did have to end up paying extra for that. She cut off way more of my hair than I wanted to. I never speak up during haircuts. I've never had a bad haircut and I'm pretty unfussed about it. I just like a trim and some face framing pieces. It is nothing complicated. I don't dye my hair. So I've never really had a bad haircut because it's kind of hard to mess that up. But after this haircut, I literally cried, and I did speak up during it and say, like, first of all, my hair, she was just like, I don't know, it was almost like she was backcombing it when she was blow drying it. It was so knotty. It was really short, and I was like, can I see the back of my hair? Because I was worried about how much she was cutting off. And she basically said, no, I'm not going back there again, and I need a good hairdresser in Ottawa. So sadly, that is my current life update. And then my current read, I just finished Final Offer by Lauren Asher, which is the last book in the Dreamland Billionaire series. Sorry, I'm just going to take a sip of water, and this is a reminder to all of you that you should all take a sip of your water bottle right now. It is so hot, remember to stay hydrated. So this is the final book in the Dreamland Billionaire series, and I rated the first 2 books 5 stars. I haven't decided on my rating for this one yet. I think it's going to be a 4.5. It's still amazing, but I did prefer the other 2. It was such a good summer read, but still really emotional and had a lot of like quite deep topics, but I really enjoyed it, and I am such a fan of Lauren Asher's at the minute, and I'm so excited for a new series to come out. I want to tell you guys who I am and what the podcast is about. So let's jump into that. So who am I? I am Elsa Moira on YouTube, TikTok, all that kind of thing, except I am Elsa Mitchell on Instagram. If you are watching on YouTube, you might already know who I am, because this is my YouTube channel where I post a bunch of vlogs, lifestyle, wellness, self-improvement, book, reading, vlog kind of content. I'm trying to think what else I do. I do a lot of different stuff. But if you are watching on YouTube, you might already know who I am. If you're not, definitely press subscribe for more podcast episodes and my other content. But if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the rest of that, I'll get into that in a second, then you might not know who I am. So I am a content creator, primarily a YouTuber, and I've been doing this for about 4 years now. And I also have a degree in sociology from the University of Leeds, which is sort of where a lot of my YouTube grew. I was doing student content and vlogs. Yeah, but I'm a sociology student, well, sociology graduate. I graduated last year, and that's going to be, I guess, my framework for a lot of this self-improvement thing. I have kind of a social science background, so I do love to dive into the research and read a lot of articles. So as well as my own opinions and my own experience, this People in Progress podcast is going to have a lot of research behind it, which you'll see when you listen to the episodes. Also, I am Australian, and I don't particularly sound it. Sometimes I do. You'll see when I get more relaxed and some certain words, I definitely sound Australian. But I moved to the UK when I was 15, and I picked up this posh accent pretty quickly because I went to school down south in Surrey, if you know anything about the UK. And then I lived in the UK for 5 years, and then last year, we actually just hit 1 year on this, we moved to Canada. We, being me and my boyfriend Jake, we moved to Vancouver, and then just a couple months ago we moved to Ottawa. So that's everything you need to know about me pretty much. If you have any questions, comment them down below on the YouTube channel, or you can follow me on @PeopleInProgress on Instagram, which is our podcast Instagram, and I will get into it later, but that podcast Instagram is going to be so gorgeous. So what is the People in Progress podcast? The People in Progress podcast is a podcast about self-improvement and going on that self-improvement journey. You're going to join me on my journey because I'm by no means perfect. I'm still working on myself, and I do think self-improvement is the kind of journey where it never has an end. It's more of a belief or a lifestyle or a belief in yourself that you can do it. So there is no end goal. It's just a constant journey that we're all on. And I personally have been focusing on self-improvement for years. So I'm really excited to get into it and tell you guys about everything I've learned. And we're going to be talking about, like I said, everything I've learned, tips, tricks, ups and downs in my journey, how you can deal with ups and downs in your journey, all different kind of topics and different areas of self-improvement. My main goal with this is to share that life is so great, and if you're at a low point right now, just know that it can be so great. And we're really going to talk about how you can achieve reaching your goals and your dream life. Like I said, I'm not an expert, and I think it will actually be useful hearing from someone who isn't an expert and is coming on this journey with you guys. Overall, this podcast, I want to create a community of people. Obviously, there's me who's sharing my experiences and my research, but I want us to be able to share, to talk, to discuss things in terms of self-improvement and bettering your life and achieving your goals. So we're going to be learning, sharing and discussing all those kind of things. And then obviously I'm here to sort of share all this and show you how you can do it. And again, my experiences, like I've said. So mind me if I'm looking over here, because I have a bunch of topics, some of the topics that we're going to be covering, but that includes, first of all, we're going to have a real focus on mindset. I really appreciate a lot of podcasts that get into health and sort of physical wellness, and I think this is super useful, but that is not my area of expertise, and I want to leave it to the people whose area of expertise it is. Obviously, wellness is kind of like a holistic thing. You have to focus on all areas: lifestyle, mindset, wellness. But personally, we're going to focus on lifestyle and mindset over here. We're also going to look at life purpose, getting to the root of who you really are, what do you want and why do you want it. And this is so important when we're looking at our dream life, achieving our goals, because you want to be striving for goals that actually, how do I put this, actually are relevant to the core of who you are as a person. Of course, we're going to look at how to live your dream life. We're going to look at intentionality, goal setting, habits, routine. I'll see if I have anything else written down as well. Things you can do to improve your life. Obviously, guides and advice, but particularly for different areas of your life. So we're going to focus on, say, university, being in school, starting a new job, moving countries. So different areas. I would love to do like guides or at least discussions on those different areas of life. Planning, habits, routines. I'm really into bullet journaling and also Notion and all that kind of planning. So we're definitely going to get into that. So if you have got this far, you have definitely found at least one place where you can listen to this podcast. But in terms of when this podcast is coming out and where you can listen to it, it is going to be coming out weekly on Mondays. Thought it was a nice way to start your week, and also I love listening to podcasts with my morning routine, particularly on weekdays. I thought it'd be really nice if this comes out on a Monday and you can pick which day you listen to it during the week. And then this is a bit technical, but I am distributing this with Spotify for podcasters, so it's definitely going to be on Spotify, and then I should be able to release it on all major platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the other one. Those are the two I really use. And then also, like I mentioned earlier, it's also going to be on YouTube. So YouTube has a new podcast feature and I have my channel on here. So I'm going to be releasing video podcasts on YouTube. And then also there's video on Spotify if you guys are watching that. Hi. And then again, if you are watching on the audio platforms, you don't have to watch video, because I know I personally prefer audio podcasts just when I'm doing my morning routine. But if you're interested in this kind of content, I do this vein of content but in a different way and a more vloggy style on YouTube, so do check that out. I just wanted to give this variety with video and non-video and all the different platforms, so you guys can have a way to listen to this podcast however you like to. And then also I just want to mention, in terms of the first couple episodes, I think it's the first 5, I am traveling, so I am pre-recording them. So in terms of life updates and current reads, I am going to be not getting as deep into it because I'm going to be talking about current stuff to now when I'm recording this first episode. And then that also just helps with me starting the podcast having these pre-recorded, because I can get feedback on a couple different types of episodes, get the Instagram up and running and see what you guys like. I just want to talk about why I started this podcast, because obviously I am on social media already. I didn't need another platform, but I've just been itching to start a podcast for so long. One of the reasons of that is I've been on this self-improvement journey for a while now. I would say about 4 years. So I started my YouTube channel in December 2019, and I would say I got on this self-improvement journey probably January 2020. Or maybe it was around September 2019. I think maybe the self-improvement journey and the YouTube channel kind of coincided, and it's like maybe one of the reasons I decided to take that step. I've learned a whole lot about self-improvement, obviously, mental health, living my best life, habits, routines, making the right choices for yourself. And I see so many people stuck in a fixed mindset, feeling like they're stuck in a situation and feeling like they can't change their situation. And I really want to show you guys that you truly can, and you can really go on a journey upwards from those lows. Like I said, I have so much to share with you guys, and I really want to create a community with you, a space where we can all talk, maybe like a group chat eventually, but just a space where you can listen to a podcast and you know it's going to be positive and good media that you can consume. I want us all to be a space where, you know, not toxic positivity, we're allowed to have downs, this is a journey, but we can all talk to each other and know that we're all coming from a space of people who are interested in improving themselves and not just wallowing in self-pity or wallowing in problems, if that makes sense. Except my haircut, I was wallowing in that a bit. And then, like I said earlier, follow the @People in Progress podcast on Instagram, obviously, because I am going to be posting some really, really cute graphics on that. So in university, I was the president of the Sociology Society, of Sociology and Social Policy Society. We were called SOCSOC. And I did a lot of the Instagram graphics along with the other girls on the committee. But I miss doing cute Instagram graphics and like infographics, savable stuff that's like useful information, but also cute and aesthetic. I miss that so badly from when I was doing the SOCSOC Instagram. And so I'm going to make this Instagram so amazing. I worked really hard on the logo and the aesthetic and the vibe for this podcast, so I really hope you guys do enjoy it. And we're gonna have a bunch of content that goes along with the episodes on there. So like if we're talking about university, I might put a little written down back to university guide, or a guide on routines or habits, or I'm trying to think of other things we're talking about, meal planning, all of that. I want to have little infographics to go along with it on the Instagram. So that is why I started the podcast, and now I want to talk about the title People in Progress. First of all, the word people. Obviously, I've spoken so much about community in this episode, and that is why I really wanted it not to just be Elsa's podcast, Elsa's self-improvement podcast, whatever. I wanted it to be about us, about a community of people all trying to work on themselves and just living a positive life with a focus on bettering themselves and the world around them. Let's talk about the word progress. Now, sociology background and all, I have to talk about the myth of progress, which is an idea sociologically from the 20th century. It's kind of the Western notion that society progresses from point A to point B or onwards in a linear, positive fashion in a way that is desirable for people and society. So it's this idea that society is always getting better. However, we know that it's not like that. You can look at so many different things. For example, the status of women in society, the environment, all these kind of things. And I want to apply that to us, our mindset, our lifestyle, and our self-improvement journey. Because I think we have this idea that we should always be getting better, but in truth it is not always like that. There are ups and downs, which I've mentioned previously. You know, there are steps back. For example, I see in a lot of people's wellness journeys, discovering a new piece of information and then becoming obsessive over it. And I do think these obsessive tendencies take us back from our wellness journey. Then there is also, you know, periods of lack of motivation, periods of rough mental health. And I think a really good way to look at this is confidence, because as a child, how confident were you? Because I know personally, I did not give a shit. I did not care. I was having so much fun. Well, I actually had pretty bad anxiety as a kid, but when I'm trying to think younger and like in school and stuff, I did not care about talking in front of the class. I did not care about putting my hand up or what I wore, because we are taught not to be confident. And then so if you think as a teenager, your confidence probably dipped. And now I know personally as like an adult, and when I started going to university, my confidence has peaked again. I probably could be more confident, but in terms of where I am in my journey, I'm so happy with my confidence. And that just shows how the journey is not linear. We don't start from the bottom and end up at the top. And then also I think creativity is a great way to look at this as well. You were probably really creative as a kid, and then high school beat it out of you. And yeah, I know personally I'm working to get my creativity back. I'm really prioritizing creative hobbies, but just a couple examples to show that progress is not linear. And although, you know, people in progress, we are on this journey, don't feel like you always have to be getting better. You can strive for that, and it is great to strive for that. Don't beat yourself up if you're not. Also, mentioned earlier that I am like Aussie, British. I'm not technically British yet, soon hopefully, but my accent is messed up, and now I live in Canada, which hasn't done me any favors in terms of the accent because I'm just reverting to some like weird mix of Aussie, Canadian, British. I'll probably flip between saying progress and progress because I can't decide which way I say it, which is inconvenient considering that is the title I've chosen for this podcast. Don't mind me changing the way I say things every now and then, it's just how it works. I did not know that you couldn't film for longer than half an hour on my camera because it totally just stopped recording. But we're back just in time to finish talking about the title of this podcast. So in terms of the journey, I said this earlier, People in Progress is all about being on a journey of self-improvement, but it's not a journey with an endpoint. Self-improvement is a belief, it is a lifestyle, and it is a commitment to yourself that you believe you can get better and you believe you can live your dream life. I cannot believe this is out here. People in Progress, this is the first episode and it is real. It is out of my brain and out of my journals and it is on the internet now, and I cannot believe that. If you made it this far, I would very much appreciate a review. And I know that's a lot to ask for on the first episode, but I would love to see your reaction to how much you liked this. Let me know your thoughts. From what I gather, reviews on Apple Podcasts are the most important. And then also on Apple Podcasts, you can actually leave me some words to let me know what you think of this. And then on Spotify, I know personally because that's the main one I use, you can rate out of 5 stars, which I also really appreciate. And then if you're watching on YouTube, give this a like and comment a little heart emoji. So I know who made it this far. It'd be incredible if you watched this far. I couldn't believe that. If you want to leave a question, because I'd love to start collecting some questions for a Q&A episode later, I think the best way to do that would be to leave a comment on the YouTube video or send me a DM on the People in Progress Instagram. Yeah, if you have any questions about living your dream life, content creation, mindset, habits, routines, achieving your goals, advice, anything like that, just let me know because again, Q&A episodes would be great to do later. And thank you so much for listening. I cannot believe we've made it to the end of the first episode. Yeah, I will see you next Monday. Thank you again for listening.